TFC and TF2 both have maps. In fact, they both have 2 forts. Let's compare them. Cause I thought in addition to the ongoing TF2 vs TFC class comparisons, it might be fun to see how the maps that are in both games stack up to one another too. And I mean, hey, the last time someone made a video comparing both versions of 2 Fort was before TF2 even came out. And this guy can't wait to play the beta tonight. I hope he enjoyed it. So am I really going to milk the TF2 vs TFC series with a spin-off map version before the main one is even close to being finished? Yes, someone's gotta do it. And what better way to start than with probably the most iconic map that goes all the way back to Quake Team Fortress. Maybe someday we'll compare it to that one too, but for now we're gonna stick to TFC vs TF2. Alright, in this corner it's 2 Fort, and in the other corner it's also 2 Fort. You can't really make 2 locations fight each other, but we're gonna try. So, I'm sure we all know how capture the flag works, but let's still compare the basics. And of course the main objective of both versions of 2 Fort is to take the enemy flag, or intelligence, and bring it back to your base. But one really big difference is that in classic 2 Fort you don't bring it back to your flag location. Instead, there's a designated capture spot on your balcony area. So this right here is where you have to bring the flag to, and that can make capturing a lot faster. And in both versions of CTF, you can still capture the flag when yours has been stolen, and in both, the flag will remain where it landed for 60 seconds after the carrier has dropped it or has been killed. In TF2, for some reason, the team who capped gets 10 seconds of crits. I don't really know why they thought that was a good idea, but by default that is what happens, and in TFC there is no similar equivalent. Now, in case you're really scratching your head as to why this map containing 2 identical forts is called 2 Fort, well, that's cause in 1847, a wandering pack of teenage bullies forced Claude Huggins to rename the town he founded on the spot where his wife was mauled to death by a bear from Hugginsville to 2 Farts, and thus 2 Fort was born. Yeah, that's how it went, that sounds about right. The whole 2 identical forts things is clearly just a coincidence. And yeah, in both games, the layout is pretty much mirrored for both sides, with a bridge separating the two. In Quake TF and TFC's 2 Fort, the entire area is pretty wide open with nothing covering the bridge, where in TF2 the bridge is covered. Though in early trailers you can see the beta version where the bridge has no covering either. The water area directly underneath the bridge is pretty similar for both games, though in TFC it is completely open, while in TF2 it does have the supports for the bridge. And rather than this area leading directly to the sewers, in the TFC 2 Fort you actually have to swim down into them, and they're completely filled with water throughout. There is also no health and ammo down there like there is in TF2. In fact, other than spawn, there are no health and ammo pickups anywhere on the original 2 Fort. But once you make it through the sewers, you get to this super cramped, winding staircase that feels like it goes on way longer than it should. It just never ends. Oh look, it ended. And because you don't have to swim down to get into it, this whole area is raised up quite a bit in TF2, so the stairs are much shorter to get into the base. And once you get into the base in TFC, you'll notice that the layout is almost identical to TF2's 2 Fort. If you go right, you'll see 2 exits to the center of the map, and if you go left, you'll see this narrow hallway that leads to a more open area. And if you go straight, it's just a bigger hallway to the same open area. And aside from the bridge in the middle, the layout here is very similar to how it is in TF2 as well. If you go left, it'll lead you to spawn, and if you go straight from there, it'll lead you to the battlements, and eventually to the second spawn on the other side. And just like in TF2, this spawn has the same little drop-down area that leads to the tiny hallway. This split section here also has basically the exact same layout as TF2, with another drop-down area to the left and a winding passageway to the flag on the right. While not totally one-to-one, the general layout of the basement is very similar, with the same 2 entrances to the flag, and a very similar flag location. There is also this extra resupply area down here, which always seemed kind of unnecessary in TF2, but it was in TFC, and it does have more of a purpose there, so that's kind of how it carried over. And then you get to this. That's not in TF2. Instead of stairs, you have this big elevator shaft. And the elevator only works for your team in your base. It won't activate for the enemy team, making this area kind of a dead end for escaping. Well, at least I thought it was at first, because it did seem like it was a little bit too high to get up there with a basic rocket or grenade jump, but I was able to find a tutorial from 2004 for just this very situation. Thanks, Killjoy's Corner from 2004. I wonder what he's doing now. And yeah, if you take the flag, you can grenade jump out of there. I don't really know if it's more practical than taking the ramp back up, but it is an option, and it looks cooler. And that's really about it. 2 Fort's the same on both sides, so that is really all you need to see. It really didn't change all that much, and in both games it's just an incredibly simple and straightforward map, so there will be more to say in future map comparisons that are more complex. But you gotta start with 2 Fort. It's 2 Fort! TFC in general is a lot faster paced, and I think the cap area being on the balcony helps speed things up a lot there too. Instead of having to go all the way back to the basement, you could just jump right up there. But the TF2 version does have health and ammo packs, and the entire sewer section has been completely overhauled, which I think makes it a lot better. The TF2 2 Fort is definitely a lot nicer looking, but what do you expect? I mean, a lot changed between 1999 and 2007. And apparently a lot changed in the town of 2 Fort between the 1930s and the 1960s, because somehow it went from being in a dam in the mountains to a desert farmland. I'm sure it's not meant to literally be the same location, even though the TFC mercenaries were presumably fighting in the same general New Mexico area. But hey, there could be more than one 2 Fort, right? Who says there can't be? So which map wins 1v1? These two areas with buildings on them are fighting each other. And you know, I think I gotta say that 2 Fort probably wins. And yeah, that was the evolution of 2 Fort. It didn't really evolve all that much, but thanks for watching, and a special thanks to my patrons like Varric, Captain Forex, Eggox, Dex, Probably Vinegar, Caponicus, Kelso the Pirate, Pillsman's Fox, Kybird96, Scout with a Name, Glump, Salt God, Lavi, Taupe, Time Consuming, Steel Frog, and Firefox. Alright, okay. Peace out, dogs.